PPP government marks 1 year in office. Public servants to get salary increase. Foreign travelers must be fully vaccinated to enter Guyana. And another year, another disappointment. I am Noriko Bullford, and welcome to tonight's edition of Uncut News. Today marks the 1 year anniversary of this administration entering office. Fresh off the heels of a 5-month election debacle, the PPP strolled in, hoping to force APNU into complete irrelevancy. Or at least the irrelevancy that they didn't already bring upon themselves. Anyway, they marked today with an address to the nation, one in which the president shared proposed projects, thanked the ABCE countries for standing up to Granger, and compared how they were better than APNU at running a country. The EPA will soon set up a 24-hour monitoring, reporting, and verification system connecting their offices onshore to the offshore FPSOs. Through this system, they can monitor the operations of the boats in real time and not have to rely on reports from Exxon. The EPA currently has a 6-member petroleum monitoring unit trained to capture data and conduct independent verification on the oil vessels, a group that they actually plan on expanding further soon. The EPA was allocated $609 million Guyana dollars in the 2021 national budget, so hopefully they'll be using that to actually monitor our oil. The president says that the confirmation of Chancellor Yonette Cummings and Chief Justice Roxanne George Wiltshire depends on Harman recognizing this government as legitimate. The Constitution states that the Chancellor and the Chief Justice are appointed after the President and the opposition leader reach an agreement. However, Chancellor Yonette Cummings and Chief Justice Roxanne George Wiltshire have been acting for more than 2 years now. In March of this year, Harman had called on the President to confirm the two ladies for their jobs, but since Harman continues to reject this government's legitimacy, the President will not approve the positions. All public servants, including teachers, will receive a retroactive salary increase by the end of this year, and that there will be an annual bonus to all public servants. Additionally, the government is looking at a mechanism that would allow all public servants to own their home, as well as receive scholarships for themselves and their children. Which is a good thing, because as you know, education and home ownership are two excellent ways to get yourself out of poverty. Are you one of the chosen few that benefits from duty-free? If yes, then check out these amazing vehicles that just arrived at Best Buy Auto Sales. This 2016 Toyota Harrier Grand Sport Edition, this 2014 Range Rover Evoque, and this 2016 Lexus RX 200T are all on sale. They are all fully loaded and come with all modern features. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info, or visit the showrooms at Lot 171 Bitter Street, Queenstown, or Lot 2 Lamar Street, and tell them Noriko sent you to get in on a sweet deal. According to the president, farmers and households that suffered flood damage will be getting cash grants from the government. Homestead farmers would receive $100,000 each. Kitchen garden farmers will receive $50,000 each, and regular households will receive $50,000, while rice farmers who were ready to harvest but lost yield to the flood will receive $80,000 per acre. For rice sowed and lost in the autumn crop, those farmers are set to receive $65,000 per acre, and those farmers who prepared their lands but were unable to plant will receive $45,000 per acre. Meanwhile, 60,000 bags of seed patty and more than $600 million in relief will be provided to poultry farmers. Over 52,000 households and 92,000 acres of farmland were completely affected by the floods. Although, as a point of note, while I am concerned about these poultry farmers, I do find it quite interesting that the government is giving them twice the amount of money as they're giving the petroleum unit. But, oh well, my observation. The government will soon announce additional travel requirements to persons traveling to Guyana. Among the new measures is the requirement for all foreign travelers to Guyana to show proof of vaccination in addition to a negative PCR test. Additionally, the ministry sees someone as being fully vaccinated 2 weeks after they received their second shot. Persons who were vaccinated with 2 different shots of the vaccine will be allowed entry as a fully vaccinated person. In more vaccine news, 84,800 AstraZeneca vaccines arrived in the country this morning, The vaccines were secured through an arrangement between the governments of Guyana and the United Kingdom. Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab had announced that the UK is sending the vaccine to Guyana as part of the first batch of 100 million doses the UK pledged to get to the poorest parts of the world and to get them vaccinated as quickly as possible. Don't miss the grand 50% off sale and get a free 1-month digital Prime bundle plan. Available at City Mall, Starbucks Square, Regent and Light Street, Massey Turkine, and Massey Providence. Shop early, limited stocks available. It's now time for today's Rona Report. Today, the nation recorded 22 new cases. There are now 547 persons dead, 12 persons in the ICU, 749 persons in home isolation, and the total number of confirmed cases now stands at 22,619. So please, people, wash your hands frequently, avoid touching your nose and mouth, and mask up before you leave the house. When you do leave home, try to avoid enclosed spaces and large crowds, and remember to give 6 feet of space between you and others. It's that time again. It's time to snitch for the good of the community. This time the cops are looking for 26-year-old Samoria Mitchell of Phase 1 Risrock Linden. He's wanted for questioning in relation to the shooting of 23-year-old Delroy Mackenzie in Wismar. Mackenzie had traveled to Linden with a friend to visit a young woman when he was ambushed and murdered. The friend escaped with 2 gunshot wounds. The police force is asking anyone with information on 26-year-old Samoria Mitchell of Phase 1 Risrock Linden to help them out and give them a call. You there, Mr. Truck Owner? A great place to get high-quality truck parts and engine spares for low prices is Powered Automotive. They stock parts for DAF, Freightliner, Mack, International, and all models of Cummins engines. Visit them at Lot 1161 EE Eccles or call them on 697-0171. Save big on truck parts at Powered Automotive, the #1 heavy-duty truck parts store in Guyana. Real ting. And now for our stupid news of the day. You know what I think is stupid? Just how disappointing this country's politicians are. 1 year later, and I'm disappointed in the government and the opposition. First, for the government. I am disappointed that after 5 years out of office, and the PPP has not gained an ounce or even a shred of humility. From day one, they've made it obvious that we are not going to have change in this nation. Rather, it would be a return back to normal, corrupt, intimidating business as usual. They even recycled a lot of the old faces from the last time they were in office. This, to me, says that Jagdeo values allegiance to him over actual job effectiveness. For decades, this nation has struggled with serious quality of life issues, such as crime, unemployment, education, the rising cost of living, and the situation has objectively gotten worse due to the pandemic. I cannot blame the government for this, but unfortunately this government isn't really interested in seeking any outside help to create a comprehensive plan for holistic national development in spite of the Rona, and despite the fact that they actually had years to prepare when you think about it. They even made their own parallel Rona task force while APNU was busy with their fake spreadsheets and SPOs and whatever stupidness they were doing. But here we are, a year later, and there have been no revolutionary comprehensive plans to improve the lives of the average Guyanese. Just a set of ideas on why we should dump billions into Gaisuko, into infrastructure, and into tourist investments that will only truly benefit the rich and politically connected in this country. Daily, Guyanese are having their rights infringed on, and people are completely terrified to stand up for fear of being targeted by either the courts through the cybercrimes bill or from tax abuse from the GRA. Unfortunately, the opposition is useless. They are about as helpful as a poke in the eye. Lennox Schumann sold out so quickly that I think that's why he wore his traditional wear on the first day of Parliament. He wanted to tell us voters to kiss his body and to kiss goodbye, and he thought that we'd have of an independent voice in the national rum shop. As for APNU, after that stunt they pulled last year in GCOM, their very existence as a party is an eye-pass to the right-thinking Guyanese people. Let's be real. No one even really liked the coalition to begin with. They just hated the PPP more and forgot how bad the PNC was. Now that the coalition has outlived its usefulness, I'm surprised it hasn't collapsed on the weight of its sheer ineptitude as yet. Because at this point I suspect that Hartman is determined to completely destroy what little credibility his party still has left. For one, his existence as opposition leader doesn't even make sense if he doesn't even recognize the legitimacy of the government. How can you oppose that which you do not believe exists? The mental gymnastics going on in Hartman's brain would put Simone Biles to shame. Anyway, I could go on, but what's important is to recognize the fact that despite the Rona, we are at a critical time in our nation's history, when we can truly unite as a people to design how we want the next 50 to 100 years of our nation's history to go. But right now, the two main parties in power seem more interested in small gains of today for themselves at the expense of our collective future. And if you ask me, I think that is pretty stupid. Have a business and need access to more Guyanese balls? Register it on one of the fastest growing business directories in Guyana. Sign up for free on snap.gy and get your business listed today. And yes, you've heard me right, it's absolutely free. Get listed today on snap.gy. Moving on to our Uncut News Views Poll question of the day. Every day we pose a question about current events in the nation, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. So you give your responses in the comments and we'll read the best ones in the following episode. Friday's question was, how effective do you feel the government's vaccine mandates will be? Suresh said, all the bus operators should go on strike to remind the government that power lies in the hands of the people. Frankly, I think everyone should go on strike for various reasons, but I support that. Jermaine Charles says, it's unfortunate that the government thinks it has the right to force persons to be vaccinated, when, in fact, it's not mandatory. What they should be doing is educating the nation on the benefits of taking the vaccine, not enforcing their will. Exactly, it's just like I already said, it's like burning a picnic to make them eat their Corilla. It makes no sense. Just talk with people, reason with them. And finally, JC says, the government's enforcement of this new mandatory vaccine of bus drivers and private businesses is gonna totally backfire on them. Yes, like I said, I'm pretty sure it will lead to a huge underground economy of fake Rona vaccines and test results. So, you already know how I feel about their performance so far, but I want to hear from you. So for tonight's question, I want to know, how do you feel about the government and opposition's performance over the last year? Think about that question and tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight. Check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Enrico Bulford saying good night, folks. Hey, Uncut News viewers, thanks for watching. You can subscribe by clicking on this button over here, or click over there for more news. You can also drop a comment to let me know if you've made it to the end of the video. Goodbye for now.